All right, so get this. Today we're diving into some seriously cool AI research.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about AI that learns from experience,
Hmm.
just like we do, and actually gets better over time.
Really? Now that's interesting.
It is. The paper we're looking at today is called Memory-Augmented Agent Training for Business Document Understanding.
Okay.
I know, the title might sound a little bit dry,
Yeah.
but trust me, what they're doing is anything but boring.
All right, I'm all ears.
So basically, we're going to explore how researchers are teaching AI to handle all those, business documents.
You mean like invoices and contracts and stuff?
Exactly. All the stuff that usually makes you want to just
Makes you want to just give up.
yeah, totally.
And let's be real, those manual processes are a nightmare for businesses.
Oh, tell me about it.
I mean, think about it. Someone spends hours inputting data from invoices,
Right.
and it only takes one tiny little typo in like a transport reference number to totally mess things up.
A total disaster.
Yeah, it could delay a shipment, cause disruptions all over the place.
Not good. Not good at all. So how are these researchers solving this problem?
Well, they've created this thing called an AI agent.
An AI agent.
Yeah, basically, imagine like a digital assistant that can actually read and understand those complicated invoices.
Oh, that's cool. So like a super smart assistant
Yeah, pretty much.
that actually gets what's going on in those documents.
Right, and what makes it even cooler is
Right.
it's powered by something called a large language model, or LLM.
Okay, an LLM. I hear that term all the time these days.
Yeah, it's a bit of a buzzword.
Can you break it down for me? Like, what exactly is that?
Sure, so think of an LLM as this huge neural network
Okay.
that's been trained on a massive amount of text and code.
Wow, massive.
So it can understand language, generate text,
Uh-huh.
even translate languages,
No way.
and write different kinds of creative content.
That's insane.
And in this case, the LLM is like the brains of the AI agent.
Oh.
It lets it actually navigate all the complexities of these business documents.
Okay, so it's like giving the AI agent like a superpower
Yeah, you could say that.
to really understand information the way we do.
Exactly.
But here's where things get even more interesting.
Oh.
This AI agent, it has a long-term memory.
Now that is really cool.
Right.
It's a big deal because unlike other AI systems
Yeah,
that usually forget what they've learned once
Mhm.
they finish a task,
right.
this agent remembers what it's done.
Oh, wow.
It can learn from its mistakes.
That's so smart.
Yeah, identify patterns in documents and just keep getting better over time.
Wow, that sounds like a game changer.
It really is.
But I'm curious, wouldn't that require like a ton of memory and processing power?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's a big challenge
Yeah.
in AI development right now.
I bet.
Building AI with this kind of memory is really demanding.
It must be.
But these researchers have come up with a really clever framework.
Okay, tell me more.
They call it MATRIX. It stands for Memory-Augmented Agent Training Through Reasoning and Iterative Exploration.
Okay, that's a mouthful. But it sounds pretty cool.
It is catchy,
Yeah.
and the name really reflects what the system does.
I like that.
Like it emphasizes the memory part
Uh-huh.
and the agent's ability to reason and learn,
Right.
and how it keeps refining its understanding.
It's constantly learning and evolving.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's unpack this matrix a bit.
Okay.
How does it actually work?
Well, imagine the AI agent is like a student
Okay, it's too much.
learning something new.
All right.
And in this case, it's learning how to get those transport reference numbers from invoices.
Got it.
So the matrix framework is like a structured learning environment
Okay.
where the agent can practice,
Yeah.
get feedback, and keep improving.
So it's like having a built-in tutor for the AI.
That's a great way to put it.
I like that.
And to make the training really realistic,
Yeah.
the researchers teamed up with a company called Kuhn plus Nagel.
Kuhn plus Nagel, I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're a big global logistics company.
Right.
And they used real invoices.
Oh, wow. So this is like the real deal.
Exactly. Real invoices from their actual operations.
Wow.
So the research is super practical and relevant.
That's a smart move.
Yeah.
I like that they're not just testing this out in a lab.
Right.
They're actually using it on real-world problems.
Yeah, exactly.
So did Matrix live up to the hype?
Well, the results were pretty impressive.
Okay, tell me more.
In their tests, Matrix was able to pull out that transport reference number
Uh-huh.
and format it correctly, almost 75% of the time.
75%? That's amazing.
It is, especially when you think about
Yeah.
that other AI systems were only getting it right about 40% of the time.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
It really shows you how powerful it is
Yeah.
to give AI this long-term memory.
It's learning and remembering.
Exactly.
So cool. But I'm guessing there are some limitations too, right?
Well, one thing they emphasized was how important the underlying language model is.
Okay.
You know, the brain of the AI agent.
Right. So the smarter the brain, the better the results.
Pretty much, yeah.
That makes sense.
They found that even with smaller language models, Matrix still did pretty well.
Okay.
But the results were way better when they used more advanced models.
Oh, so like GPT-4.
Exactly, things like GPT-4.
Right. So it's like giving the AI a more powerful engine.
You got it.
Cool. So they've shown it works for invoices,
Right.
but did they look at how this could be used for other things?
Yeah, they did. And they think Matrix has the potential to handle even longer and more complicated documents as it learns.
Wow. So not just simple invoices anymore.
No, think bigger.
Like what?
Huge contracts, legal documents,
Oh, wow.
even scientific papers.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it really shows you the power of memory in AI.
It opens up so many possibilities. So what other documents do you think these AI agents could handle in the future?
Well, imagine AI agents analyzing medical records
Oh, wow. Yeah.
to help doctors make diagnoses faster and more accurately.
That would be incredible.
Or AI agents looking through financial data to catch fraud.
Oh, yeah. To prevent those financial crimes.
Exactly.
That's really powerful stuff.
It is. It could really change how we work with information.
It could change everything. But it also makes you wonder
About what?
about the role of human workers.
Yeah, that's a big question.
If AI can do all this stuff, what happens to the people who used to do those jobs?
It's something we definitely need to think about more as AI gets even more advanced.
Absolutely. It's a huge question.
And the researchers actually addressed this in the paper.
Really?
They think this technology could actually free up human workers
Oh, interesting.
to focus on things that AI isn't so good at.
Like what?
Creative tasks, strategic thinking, building relationships.
The human stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So instead of spending hours on data entry,
Right.
people could be using their skills to solve complex problems
Yeah.
and come up with new ideas.
And build connections with other people.
I love that perspective. It's not about AI taking over. It's about AI helping us do what we do best.
Exactly. It's about making us even better.
That's really inspiring. But as with any powerful technology, I'm sure there are challenges too, right?
Oh, definitely.
What did the researchers say were some of the biggest hurdles?
Well, one of the biggest ones is the need for good training data.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
The AI can only be as good as the data it learns from.
So garbage in, garbage out, right?
Exactly. If you give the AI bad data, it's going to make bad decisions.
And that could have some real-world consequences.
Definitely.
But I thought they used real invoices for this research.
They did.
Wouldn't that data be pretty good?
Well, yeah, the source was good,
Right.
but they had to be careful about data privacy.
Of course, those invoices have sensitive information.
Exactly.
You can't just feed that to the AI.
Right. It would be a huge privacy problem.
So how do they handle that?
They created what they called an anonymized subset of the data.
An anonymized subset.
Yeah. Basically, they removed any information that could identify a person or a business.
Okay, so they were protecting people's privacy while still doing their research.
Exactly.
That's really important.
It is. Data privacy has to be a top priority when we're talking about AI.
Absolutely. But it sounds like anonymizing data is a pretty complicated process.
It can be, yeah.
Did they talk about how they did it?
They did. They used a mix of techniques.
Like what?
Things like pseudonymization, where they replace real data with fake data.
Okay.
But the fake data follows the same format as the real data.
Interesting.
And then complete anonymization, where they just get rid of any identifying information completely.
So it's like they're giving the AI fake data to play with.
Yeah, kind of.
But in a way that keeps everyone's information safe.
Exactly. It's a way to let the AI learn without any real-world risks.
I like that. It's like AI training wheels.
That's a great way to put it.
But are there any downsides to using this kind of fake data? Does it limit what the AI can learn?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And they did say that the anonymized data set, even though it's good for research,
Right.
it's still much smaller than the original data set.
Oh, I see.
So the AI might not see all the variations
Okay.
and complexities that you find in real invoices.
So it's like learning to drive in a simulator.
Yeah, kind of.
versus driving on real roads.
Exactly.
You might be missing some of the real-world experience.
That's right. And while the simplified data is good for research, it's important to remember that how the AI performs in the lab
Yeah.
might not be exactly how it would perform in the real world.
Right, with all that extra data and complexity.
Exactly.
That's a really good point.
It just shows that we need to keep doing research
Yeah.
to make sure these AI agents can handle the real world
Huh.
while still being ethical and protecting information.
It's a tough balance.
It is. It really is.
Well, this deep dive has been really eye-opening.
I agree.
It's amazing to see the potential of these AI agents with memory.
It is exciting.
But it's also made me realize there's still a lot to figure out.
Oh, for sure.
It's a fascinating journey, and I can't wait to see where this technology goes next.
Me too. The possibilities are endless.
Before we get too carried away with the future, let's take a step back and recap what we've learned so far.
Sounds good to me.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
Okay, so let's rewind for a second
Okay.
and recap some of the key points we've talked about.
Right.
We started this whole deep dive talking about the headaches businesses face
Right.
with processing all those documents, manual data entry. It's so time-consuming
It is.
and error-prone.
And nobody likes it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where this research comes in.
Okay.
We've been looking at how researchers are tackling this problem
Right.
with these new AI agents.
Oh, powerful AI agents.
But these aren't your typical AI assistants. Oh, no.
What makes them different?
They're powered by large language models, and they have this awesome feature, long-term memory.
That's right.
This memory lets the AI learn from experience, just like we do.
Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, can remember past tasks, identify patterns in documents, and keep getting better and better.
It's a big step forward for AI.
It really is.
Yeah.
And they gave this smart AI system a pretty cool name.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Matrix.
Matrix. I like it.
It stands for Memory-Augmented Agent Training Through Reasoning and Iterative Exploration.
Catchy.
It really captures what the system does.
Yeah, it does.
It's about giving the AI agent memory, letting it think and learn, and then refining its understanding through practice.
It's like they've built an AI that learns on the job.
Exactly.
Yeah?
And to make sure this matrix isn't just a theory,
Yeah.
they tested it out on real-world invoices
From where?
from Cunin plus Nagel, that global logistics company.
Oh, wow. So real-world data.
Real-world problems, the whole deal.
That's a great way to test it out.
And the results were pretty amazing, right?
They were impressive.
Matrix was able to get that transport reference number right almost 75% of the time.
75%. That's a huge jump from the previous systems.
It really is. It shows you how powerful this long-term memory is for AI.
It's learning and remembering.
And getting better.
Exactly. But it's not just about being accurate.
Right. What else did they find?
Well, they also saw that Matrix got more efficient over time.
Okay.
It needed fewer API calls to do the job.
So it's like it's learning to ask fewer questions and become more independent.
That's a good way to think about it.
So it's more accurate, more efficient, and probably cheaper for businesses too.
Yeah, it's a win-win-win situation.
But we also talked about doing AI the right way.
Responsible AI development.
Exactly. And the researchers took data privacy very seriously.
They did.
Remember, they went to a lot of trouble to anonymize the data they used to train Matrix.
Yeah, they use those techniques like pseudonymization and anonymization.
It's great that they were thinking about ethical practices.
Absolutely. Data privacy is crucial.
But even with all that care, there are still some limitations.
Sure.
The anonymized data, even though it's great for research,
Yeah,
it's still a lot smaller than the original data set.
it is.
So the AI might not be getting the full picture of what real-world data looks like.
It's like training in a simulator versus the real world.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And that means we need to keep doing research
We do.
to find ways to train AI on tons of real data, but still do it in a way that's ethical and protects information.
It's a balancing act,
It is.
but a really important one.
Well, this has been a fantastic deep dive so far.
I agree.
It's really exciting to see what these AI agents with memory can do,
The potential is huge.
but we also need to be aware of the challenges and keep those ethical considerations in mind.
Absolutely.
It's a fascinating journey, and I can't wait to see where it takes us.
Me neither.
But before we get too lost in the future, let's take a moment to think about what we've learned today.
Oh,
We've covered a lot of ground.
we have. So, one of the coolest things about this research
Yeah.
is how they focus on this idea of iterative learning.
Okay, iterative learning, what's that?
So it's not just about
Uh-huh.
dumping a ton of data on the AI
Yeah.
and hoping for the best.
Got it.
It's more like creating a system where the AI can actually learn and reflect and keep refining its understanding over time.
So it's constantly learning and improving.
Exactly. That's what sets this apart.
I like that.
But how does that actually work?
Yeah, how does it work in practice?
It's complex, but they've got this structured approach.
Okay.
So imagine this. The AI agent tries to do a task,
Okay.
like getting that transport reference number from an
Right.
invoice.
Okay.
And then there's this other part of the system.
What's that?
It's called the reflector.
The reflector. Okay.
And it basically analyzes how the AI did.
So it's like a coach watching the AI and
Yeah.
giving feedback.
Yeah, exactly. Like a coach saying, hey, you missed that one. Here's how you can do better.
I like that analogy.
So the reflector spots any mistakes or areas where the AI could improve.
Okay.
And then it uses that feedback to actually change the AI's long-term memory.
Wow. So it's like helping the AI learn from its mistakes.
Exactly. It's not just about being right or wrong.
Right.
It's about understanding why and getting better.
Just like how we learn. Right.
Exactly. We mess up, get feedback, try again.
And hopefully do a little better each time.
That's the idea.
So cool. And this process, it keeps repeating.
Yeah, over and over.
So the AI keeps getting better.
Exactly. They found that with each round of training, the AI's accuracy got better and better.
Wow. That's incredible. So how do they measure that improvement? How do they actually know if the AI is getting better at finding those numbers?
Good question. They use this metric called the success rate.
Okay. The success rate, what's that?
It's basically how often the AI gets the number right
Okay.
and formats it correctly.
So it's not just about finding the number.
Right.
It's also about presenting it in a way that's useful.
Exactly. Making sure it's consistent and can be used by other systems.
So how do they make sure this evaluation is, like, objective?
Well, they actually use another language model
Another one.
as a judge.
Wait, a language model as a judge?
Yeah, pretty cool, right?
That's wild. How does that even work?
So this judge language model,
Yeah.
it compares what the AI agent extracted to the actual correct answer.
Or the ground truth?
Exactly from the original invoice.
Okay.
And then it decides if the AI's output is a match.
So it's like having an independent expert checking the AI's work.
You got it.
Yeah.
It makes sure the results are accurate and reliable.
I like that. It's a really thorough way to measure things.
It is. And when you're talking about real-world applications,
Yeah,
being accurate is super important.
absolutely. But I'm also curious about, like, the practical side of this research.
What do you mean?
We talked about saving money,
Uh-huh.
but are there other benefits for businesses?
Definitely. They found this big reduction in API calls.
API calls, right? Like the AI asking questions to get information.
Exactly.
And fewer questions means the AI is getting smarter and more efficient.
That's the idea.
So in the real world, what does that mean?
Well, for businesses, it means things can get done faster,
Okay.
and it costs less to run everything.
That's awesome. So it's more accurate, it's more efficient, and it's cheaper.
You got it. It's a win-win-win.
Any business would love that.
And as the AI agent learns,
Yeah.
it can actually handle longer and more complex documents.
Really? So it's not just invoices anymore.
No, it could be contracts, legal documents, even scientific papers.
Wow. That's pretty amazing.
It is. It makes you think about what else these AI agents could handle.
Yeah, it's like, what are the limits?
What other data could they process?
What other problems could they solve?
It's really exciting to think about.
You know. So what are some of the applications you can imagine?
Well, imagine AI agents that can help doctors diagnose patients
Okay.
by analyzing medical records.
That would be incredible.
Or AI agents that can look at financial data and stop fraud.
That would save people and businesses a lot of money.
It could. It could really change how we work and interact with information.
It really feels like it could change everything.
It might.
But it also makes you think about the future of jobs.
Right. If AI can do all this, what happens to the people?
Exactly. It's a big question.
And the researchers actually talk about this in the paper.
They do.
They think this technology could actually help us
Help us.
by freeing up human workers to do things that AI can't do well.
Oh, interesting. So instead of being replaced,
We could actually be freed up.
I like that idea a lot better.
Yeah, we could focus on being creative, strategic.
The human stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We could solve problems, come up with new ideas.
And build relationships with other people.
That's right. Let AI handle the data and let us be human.
That's a really cool way to think about it.
It's not about AI taking over. It's about AI helping us be better.
It's a partnership.
Exactly. But as with anything powerful, there are still challenges.
Of course. Nothing's perfect.
So what did the researchers say were the big ones?
One of the big ones they talked about was needing good training data.
Right. The AI can only be as good as the data it learns from.
So garbage in, garbage out, right?
You got it! Bad data leads to bad decisions.
And those bad decisions could have real consequences.
They could, especially in something like logistics.
But didn't they use real invoices for their research?
They did.
Wouldn't that data be pretty good?
Yeah, the source was good.
Right.
But they still had to think about data privacy.
Oh, right. Those invoices have sensitive information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They couldn't just feed all that raw data to the AI.
So what did they do?
They had to create this special version of the data,
Like
what they called an anonymized subset.
And an anonymized subset. What's that?
It means they removed anything that could identify a person or a business.
Oh, so they're protecting people's privacy.
Exactly. They're doing the research, but doing it responsibly.
That's really important.
It is. Data privacy is crucial when you're dealing with AI.
Absolutely. But it sounds like that process is pretty complicated.
It can be.
What did they say about how they actually did it?
Well, they used a few different techniques.
Okay, like what?
Things like pseudonymization.
Pseudonymization, what's that?
It's basically replacing real data with fake data.
Okay,
But the fake data has the same format as the real data.
interesting. So it's like a stand-in.
Yeah, and they also used complete anonymization.
What's that?
That's where you just remove any identifying information completely.
So no names, no addresses, nothing like that.
Exactly. Just the data that's needed for the AI to learn.
So it's like they're giving the AI a playground
Yeah, kind of.
where it can practice with safe data.
That's a good way to put it.
But does using this playground data limit the AI in any way?
Well, they did mention that even though the anonymized data is good for research,
Yeah.
it's still much smaller than the original data set. So the AI might not see everything it would see in the real world.
So it's like learning to swim in a pool instead of the ocean.
You got it. You're missing some of the real world complexity.
So the AI might do great in the lab,
Uh-huh.
but struggle a bit when it's out in the real world.
It's possible.
That's something to think about.
It is. It highlights the need for more research
Yeah.
to make sure these AI agents can handle the real world, but still protect information and be ethical.
It's a tough balance.
It really is, but it's super important.
Well, this deep dive has been amazing so far.
It has.
It's so cool to see what AI can do with memory.
The potential is huge.
But it's also made me realize that there's still a lot to figure out,
There is.
and we need to do it carefully and responsibly.
Absolutely. We can't forget about the ethics.
This is just the beginning.
It is, and I can't wait to see where it goes.
Me neither. But before we get too carried away with the future,
Yeah.
let's take a minute to think about what we've learned today.
Okay. Sounds good.
We've covered a lot.
We have.
All right, so before we wrap things up,
Hmm.
let's take a minute to recap
Okay.
what we've learned about Matrix.
Sounds good.
We started by talking about all those documents businesses have to deal with
Ugh, yeah.
and how manual data entry is
Well, it's a pain.
a total pain. It
Yeah.
takes forever,
It does.
and it's so easy to make mistakes.
One tiny typo can mess everything up.
Exactly. And that's where these new AI agents come in.
Like Matrix.
Right.
Right.
And what makes these AI agents so cool
Ugh.
is they're powered by these large language models.
Right, the LLMs.
And they have this amazing long-term memory.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
So they can learn from experience just like us.
That's the idea.
And they can remember past tasks and spot patterns in documents.
And just keep getting better over time.
It's like they're constantly learning and evolving.
It's pretty amazing.
And remember that cool name they gave this AI?
Matrix.
Matrix. It stands for Memory-Augmented Agent Training through Reasoning and Iterative Exploration.
It's a mouthful, but it fits.
It does. And to prove that Matrix isn't just some theory,
Yeah.
they actually tested it out on real-world invoices.
Oh, right. From Kuhn plus Nagel.
Exactly. So they're using real data from a real company.
That makes the research so much more practical.
I agree. It's not just happening in a lab somewhere.
Real-world problems, real-world solutions.
And the results, well, they were pretty impressive.
They were.
Matrix was able to extract that transport reference number
Uh-huh.
almost 75% of the time.
That's a big jump from previous AI systems.
It is. It really shows you the power of giving AI long-term memory.
It's like they're finally starting to learn and remember like we do.
But it's not just about accuracy, right?
Right.
What other benefits did they find?
Well, they also found that Matrix got more efficient as it learned.
Okay, how so?
It needed fewer API calls to do the job.
Ah, So it's asking fewer questions, becoming more independent.
Exactly. It's figuring things out on its own.
So less time, fewer resources.
At a lower cost for businesses.
It's a win-win all around.
It is.
But we also talked about the importance of doing AI the right way.
Responsible AI development.
Exactly. And the researchers really took data privacy seriously.
They did.
They went through all that trouble to anonymize the data.
They had to. Those invoices had sensitive information.
Right. They couldn't just feed that raw data to the AI.
It would have been a huge privacy risk.
So they used those techniques like pseudonymization and anonymization.
Yeah, to protect people's information.
It's really good to see that they're thinking about the ethics.
It's so important, especially with a powerful technology like AI.
But even with those safeguards, there are still some limitations.
There are.
That anonymized data, even though it's great for research,
Yeah,
it's still a lot smaller than the full data set.
that's true.
So the AI might not be seeing the full picture of what real-world data looks like.
It's like learning in a simplified environment.
Right, like training in a simulator instead of on real roads.
Exactly.
So there's still work to do.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We need to find ways to train AI on massive amounts of real data, but still do it in a way that's ethical and protects privacy.
It's a tough challenge, but a really important one.
Well, this deep dive has been fascinating, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
We've gone from the nitty-gritty of data entry to the cutting edge of AI.
It's been quite a journey.
And it's clear that AI is changing the game.
It is.
But we need to be mindful of the challenges and the ethics.
We can't just let technology run wild.
We need to guide it, shape it, make sure it's used for good.
And that's where the really interesting conversations begin.
I completely agree. So to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you've learned something new and that you're as excited about the future of AI as we are.
It's a future full of possibilities.
And as always, keep those minds curious.